Why does it feel like the more we try to organize, the more chaotic everything becomes? You clean one space, only to turn around and find another area already piled up again. You clear off a table, and by evening, it's covered once more. You sort through a closet, yet it still feels overcrowded. Maybe you've asked yourself, why can't I ever stay on top of this? Or even wondered if something is wrong with you for not being able to keep things under control. Let me tell you this. There's nothing wrong with you. In fact, what you're experiencing is something many people, especially women at this stage of life, know all too well. You've lived a full life. You've raised families, worked hard, cared for others. Along the way, you've gathered not just possessions, but memories, roles, and responsibilities. All of that accumulates. And sometimes, the clutter in our homes is simply a reflection of the emotional weight we've been carrying inside. That's what this conversation is about, not just decluttering shelves, but letting go in a gentle, thoughtful, and compassionate way. Because often, the real clutter isn't in the drawers or closets. It's in the guilt, the pressure, and the fear that come from holding on to things we no longer need. Today, I want to share 7 types of items that may be quietly holding you back. Things you're keeping out of habit, emotion, or because no one ever told you it's okay to release them. But once you recognize them, begin to let them go, your home and your heart will start to feel lighter. 1. The just-in-case items. There's something admirable about being prepared. Many of us grew up in homes where you never threw away a good jar, an extra light bulb, or spare linens because you never knew when you might need them. That mindset came from a time when replacing things wasn't easy or affordable. So we learned to hold on, just in case. But over time, that practicality has turned into clutter. You might have drawers full of cords or gadgets you no longer own, a linen closet stuffed with towels you haven't used in years, or boxes labeled miscellaneous that haven't been opened in a decade, all kept for one reason, just in case. Ask yourself gently, how many of those just-in-case moments have actually happened? When was the last time you opened one of those boxes and found exactly what you needed, exactly when you needed it? And even if it did happen once, did that rare moment truly justify the space and mental load all the unused items take up? Often, what we're really holding on to is fear, the fear of being unprepared, of not having what we need. But here's the truth. You've already faced more than your share of challenges, and you made it through. You found a way. You always do. Trust that resilient, resourceful version of yourself. Letting go of just-in-case items isn't careless. It's an act of faith in your ability to adapt, to ask for help, to find another way. When you release these things, you're not just freeing up physical space. You're creating emotional space, room to breathe, room to live fully in the present, instead of stockpiling for a future that may never require those items. So today, take a small step. Choose one shelf, one box, one drawer. Look at what's inside, not for its potential future value, but for whether it serves you now. And if it doesn't, trust yourself enough to let it go. 2. Things that represent who you thought you'd become. There's a quiet sadness that can come with aging. Not because life is over, but because we realize some dreams we once cherished won't unfold the way we imagined. And in many homes, there are objects that symbolize those dreams. Things we bought for a future version of ourselves. Maybe it's a yoga mat that's never been unrolled, craft supplies tucked away in a closet, business books still sitting unread on a shelf. Perhaps it's a musical instrument you never learned to play, or running shoes that only made it out the door once. We didn't mean for these things to gather dust. We bought them with hope, thinking, this is the year I'll get fit, or I'll finally write that book, or I'll become the kind of person who paints by the window every morning. But life shifted, energy faded, interests changed. We evolved. Now, these items remain, not as reminders of who we are, but of what we never did. Let me say this clearly. You are not a failure for changing course. You are not wrong for growing into someone different. Letting go of these things isn't giving up. It's making peace. Holding on to aspirational clutter keeps you tied to a version of yourself that no longer fits. Every time you pass that unused yoga mat or see those unread books, a small weight of guilt settles in. Not enough to stop you, but enough to slow you down. What if, instead, you made space for who you are right now? Maybe you're someone who enjoys quiet walks instead of intense workouts. Maybe you create through conversation, not canvas. Maybe your joy is in gardening, baking, or simply sitting by the window with a warm cup of tea. Let go of the items that no longer reflect your real life. Not because the dream was bad, but because you've stepped into something more authentic. You're allowed to change. And in that change, there's freedom. 3. Broken things you keep meaning to fix. It starts with good intentions. A chipped mug you once loved, a lamp with a flickering bulb, a wobbly kitchen chair. You set them aside thinking, I'll fix that soon. You remind yourself. You add it to your mental list. But weeks pass, then months, maybe even years. The mug stays chipped. The lamp still flickers. The chair still wobbles. And somewhere in the back of your mind, you still believe you'll get to it someday. I understand. We all have things we set aside with hope. Maybe the desire to be resourceful to avoid waste, or the belief that we shouldn't throw something away if it can be repaired. But here's what I've learned over time. If something's been broken for months and you've carried on without it, you probably don't need it anymore. Keeping broken things creates a quiet tension in your home. Every time you see that item, even if you don't realize it, there's a whisper. A to-do that never gets done, a silent burden that says you're behind, that you forgot, that you're not keeping up. That burden adds up. It clutters not just your shelves, but your thoughts, become an emotional and mental clutter, constant reminders of unfinished business. Now, if something breaks that you use every day and it's worth fixing, then fix it. But if it's been months and you've lived just fine without it, it might be time to be honest. Ask yourself, would I buy this item again today if I saw it new on a shelf? Would I invest time and money to repair it now? If the answer is no, it's okay to let it go. You're not failing. You're not being wasteful. You're freeing yourself from pressure, from guilt, from the invisible weight of what-ifs. Some things serve their purpose. Some things broke. And that's okay. What matters is whether they still support the life you're living today. So take a walk through your home. Find one broken item you've been meaning to fix. Then decide, will you repair it this week or will you let it go? Either way, you'll feel lighter. And that, my friend, is a victory worth celebrating. 4. Gifts you felt obligated to keep. There's a certain weight that comes with holding on to something given with love, even if it doesn't fit your life. Maybe it's a vase that doesn't match your style, a sweater you never wear, or a piece of decor that never quite felt right, but you kept it because someone gave it to you. We're taught from a young age to be grateful, to receive with kindness. For many of us, especially women, that gratitude turns into quiet obligation. The idea that letting go of the gift means letting go of the person. That giving it away is a form of rejection. But it's not. Let me say that again. Releasing a gift is not rejecting the person who gave it. The love was in the giving, not in the object itself. The person likely gave it with kind intentions, to make you happy, to show they care. And maybe it did, for a moment. But if the item no longer serves you, if it's sitting in a drawer or gathering dust, it's okay to say thank you and let it go. Our homes aren't museums. They're not meant to hold every gesture or memory in physical form. They're meant to support who we are today, to reflect the life we're living now, not the life we're preserving for someone else's sake. When you keep an unwanted gift, you carry a subtle weight with it. Every time you see it, there might be a small pang of guilt, a whisper that says, I should be more grateful, or I really should use that. But guilt isn't love, and guilt has no place in a peaceful home. If the person truly cared for you, they wouldn't want you to feel burdened. They want you to feel free, happy, and at home in your own space. So here's a gentle suggestion. Walk through your home with fresh eyes. Look at what you're keeping only because you feel you have to. Ask yourself, would I still keep this if no one knew I gave it away? If the answer is no, then let it go. Let the gift go and keep the love. The love doesn't live in the object. It lives in your heart. You're allowed to have a home that feels peaceful, beautiful, and true to you. Sometimes that means choosing yourself over an item that no longer belongs. It's not disrespect. It's release. And it's okay. 5. Things that make you feel not enough. Some clutter isn't physical, it's emotional. And sometimes the items we live with carry quiet messages we don't hear out loud, but we feel deep inside. Maybe it's a pair of jeans from 10 or 15 pounds ago, tucked away in a drawer, waiting, almost judging, whispering that you should be different. Maybe it's a bathroom scale that greets you each morning with a number that drains your spirit. Or a vision board from years ago, still hanging on the wall, filled with goals that never came to be. These things may seem small, but their impact isn't. Every time you see them, there's a soft sting, a quiet voice saying, you should have done more. You're not where you should be. You're not enough. That's not just clutter. It's emotional weight, the kind that wears on you quietly, affecting how you feel about yourself, how you move through your day, how light or heavy your home feels. Wanting to grow isn't wrong. We all want to feel good in our bodies, in our spaces, in our goals. But shame doesn't lead to change. It paralyzes it. Too many of us were taught that if we feel bad enough, we'll finally be motivated to improve. But real, lasting change comes from love, compassion, and truth. When we surround ourselves with items that reflect who we are now, not who we used to be, not who we wish we were, but who we truly are today, we begin to feel safe again. Safe in our homes, in our bodies, in our hearts. So if you're holding on to something that makes you feel small, ashamed, or disappointed in yourself, I invite you to release it. Not because you've given up, but because you're choosing to stop punishing yourself. You're choosing kindness. Get rid of the scale if it hurts more than helps. Donate those clothes if they no longer fit your life. Take down the old vision board or leave the wall blank so you can breathe. You don't need to carry these quiet weights anymore. Your worth isn't measured in numbers, pounds, or unchecked boxes. It's in how you love, how you listen, how you show up for yourself and others day after day. Letting go of these items isn't defeat. It's a powerful declaration. I am enough right now, just as I am. And from that truth, real peace begins to grow. You deserve a home that supports your heart, not one that slowly chips away at it. Let this be the moment you give yourself that gift. 6. Things you're keeping for someone else's memories. Many homes have a quiet corner, a closet, a box, a drawer, where memories live. But sometimes those memories aren't ours. They belong to someone we loved who is no longer here. You might have your mother's porcelain tea set, though you never use it. A box of your father's war medals, rarely opened. Your late husband's coat, still hanging in the closet. A sweater from a sister. Figurines from a grandmother. Tools that once belonged to your son. They're stored away, not because you need them, but because they meant something to someone you loved. And letting them go can feel like betrayal, as if parting with the object means parting with the person, as if their memory depends on your keeping their things. Let me say this gently. Love doesn't live in a box. Memory doesn't depend on objects. You don't need to keep everything to prove someone mattered. Their life, their love, their impact, it lives on in you, in the way you speak their name, remember their laugh, carry their values, cook their recipes, tell their stories. None of that is erased by letting go of a scarf, a book, or a watch that no longer ticks. But I understand these things can feel sacred. Sometimes they're all we have left, and we fear that if we let them go, the person will fade too. So ask yourself, are you keeping this because it brings you peace and joy, or because it brings guilt, because it makes you smile, or because you feel you have to keep it? There's no right or wrong, only truth, and your truth matters. If an item brings warmth, keep it, use it, display it, let it live. But if it sits untouched year after year, bringing heaviness instead of comfort, then you have permission to release it. You're not erasing the person. You're making space for your own life to breathe, and your life matters too. Some find comfort in a memory ritual, lighting a candle, speaking the person's name, remembering, blessing, and letting go. Others take a photo and write a note, preserving the memory without needing the object. Sometimes, giving the item away becomes a gift, donating a quilt to a shelter, passing on books to a library, letting someone else find warmth in something that once meant something to you. That's not forgetting. That's honoring both their life and yours. Your home should reflect the person you're becoming, not only the people you've loved and lost. You're allowed to move forward while still holding memory close. You're allowed to make room for joy without guilt. So if you have a box or shelf filled with someone else's past, ask yourself, is this helping me live today? If the answer is no, know that letting go isn't disrespect. It's release. It's healing. It's love in a new form. You can honor their memory by living your life fully, with space to breathe. You're not a storage unit for the past. You're a living, growing soul, and your home should feel like peace. 7. Things from a life you've already moved on from. Life has seasons. Some are loud and busy. Children running through the house, meals for crowds, packed schedules. Others arrive quietly, early mornings with soft light, a slower pace, space to breathe. But what happens when your home is still filled with items from a season that's already passed? Maybe it's business suits from a career you left behind, drawers full of Tupperware for lunches you no longer pack, a sewing machine from a hobby you've lost interest in, boxes of decorations for events no longer held in your home. You walk past them every day. You don't use them. You may not even notice them, but they're there, taking up space, quietly reminding you of a life you've already moved beyond. Letting go of these things isn't just about decluttering. It's about acknowledging that you've changed, that your life has changed, that what once had purpose, joy, or necessity may no longer serve you now. And that's not loss, it's growth. It takes courage to admit a chapter is closed, but it also opens a door to your present self. Letting go of the tools and symbols of your former life doesn't mean that time wasn't meaningful. It means you're no longer living in it. You're not that busy mom packing lunches. You're not that professional on her feet all day. You're not the one who said yes to every event and invitation. Now you're someone else. Someone who's earned rest. Someone with more space for reflection. Someone whose days look different, but whose life still holds beauty, wisdom, and purpose. When you let go of these old items, you're not discarding memories. You're making peace with what's already been lived. You're saying thank you to that part of your story, and I'm ready for what's next. Let your closet reflect who you are now. Let your kitchen hold what you actually use. Let your storage space breathe. Give yourself room to move through your home and feel that it matches the life you're living today, not the one from 15 or 20 years ago. This part of the process can be emotional. You might cry over a pair of shoes from important moments. You might smile at a purse you no longer carry. That's okay. Remember, you are not your belongings. You are not your old calendar or routines. You are who you are right now. And you deserve a home that honors that woman. You deserve to wake up and see a space that reflects your current life. Not a museum of the past, but a sanctuary for what is and what's still to come. So take your time. Be gentle, but also be honest. Ask yourself, am I keeping this because it supports who I am today, or because I feel guilty for not needing it anymore? There's no shame in needing less. There's grace in knowing when to release and make space for something new. Let your surroundings move with you. You've moved on. Let your home reflect that. Letting go gently. Today, we've walked through 7 kinds of things, not just objects, but emotions, identities, memories, and seasons of life. Maybe as you listened, you recognize a few things in your own home. A drawer you've avoided, a shelf you meant to clear, a box you packed away not out of need, but hesitation. Let me say this as gently and clearly as I can. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are simply full. Full of years lived with purpose. Full of things that once mattered. Full of reminders of the woman you've been and the lives you've touched. But there comes a time, maybe now, when we begin to release what no longer fits. Not because we're letting go of love, but because we're making room for peace. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to need less. You are allowed to live in a home that reflects the woman you are today, not the one from 20 years ago, not the one others expected you to be, but you, right here, right now. And when you begin to let go, even just one small thing at a time, you may find something unexpected in its place. Not emptiness, not regret, but relief, softness, room to breathe, because sometimes we don't need more. We need less of what weighs us down and more of what lifts us up. So I invite you, choose one thing this week. Just one, a just-in-case item, an old dream, a guilt-inducing gift, a broken object, a piece of clothing that brings shame, a box of someone else's past, A symbol from a life you've moved on from. Pick one. Set it down. Let it be the beginning, not of a purge, but of a soft turning. A return to yourself. You deserve a home that feels light, open, and peaceful. Not perfect, just honest. Just enough. Just right. And always remember, dear friend, you are not what you let go of. You are what remains when the noise has quieted. You are wisdom. You are kindness. You are here. Thank you for sharing this time with me. If you found even a moment of clarity today, I hope you carry it gently as you go. Until next time, take good care of yourself and of the space that holds your life.